Greetings, Mayor Seibold, Vice Mayor Crozier, and honorable members of Covington City Council. As your city manager, it's a privilege to be before you for a third time to present the city administration's proposed fiscal year 2023 FY23 budget per City Charter, Chapter 4, Section 2. And the reason that's referenced is the city and its staff are required to present to council for review and consideration a balanced budget. And then council at that point can make any changes or move funds as you all then see fit and defund, fund, whatever. But legally, we have that responsibility. It is my hope that you all city council do as you all have done previously and receive these recommendations with an open mind. It is important to all that careful review occurs and that you all as council provide your thoughts, thorough review of this proposed FY23 budget. I know that the past 2 years, both budget development and adoption presented uncharted territory for us all. Not just in our city, but all localities as the COVID-19 pandemic impacted all facets of government, services, and normalcy. Now it seems we are also entering into waters that present the unknown, and that we have worked carefully and conservatively to project state numbers as the state budget is not finalized. At that point in time, the state had not adopted their budget. And there is economic uncertainty arising due to a variety of factors outside of our control on the national and international levels of government. I would be remiss if I did not state the obvious that inflation has begun to impact the cost of acquiring materials for other aspects of city operational areas, as has the minimum wage increases that are mandated. This is covered, and costs associated with this are projected in this proposed budget. This has especially been challenging for our water and wastewater plants, who operate off of funds from service charges. City administration, based on the need to ensure financial sustainability of the operational maintenance costs of our water and wastewater operations, has proposed a nominal increase of $1 to the base rate of each of these services. This increase is also recommended by our municipal financial advisors, given that these funds for water and wastewater must be supported by rates from service charges, not local taxpayer dollars per law, so it has to be from rates. This proposed FY23 budget is balanced and represents several focuses that are worthwhile to note. This budget presented to you all also once again prioritizes mandated services that our city provides, with a general fund total of $23.3 million. Roughly, without our programming of federal relief dollars, we had a $20 million budget of local taxpayer dollars between machinery and tools, real estate, personal property, and other state and federal funds. We programmed ARPA dollars. All federal relief dollars used are consistent with guidelines originally issued of one-time needs of equipment, infrastructure, and projects, and that's reflected in the budget. Government administration budget requests are met for the largest part, and by that, all of our constitutional offices received their budget requests, met as they submitted them, as did our, I guess it's quasi, with the registrar's office as well. Our registrar's office, treasurer's office, revenue commissioner's office, every dollar they asked for in the proposed budget, they are receiving. Sidewalks, we normally fund them at $100,000. We're funding that at $100,000 this year. Typically in a year, we fund maybe $50,000, so that is double. Camera technology improvements in the police department, we've seen how vital body cameras are. Firearms and a canine officer are funded. We're funding improvements to our E911 workstations and software that is needed for proper emergency call response. With the fire department, there's an additional $220,000 allocated to our fire department proposed, and that is for their SCBA breathing equipment. They've already received $550,000 for the needed utility vehicle replacement, as that one was wrecked on Interstate 64, and that came from federal relief dollars. Using federal relief dollar funds, we're providing $130,000 in match for rescue funds for EMS and our rescue squad to purchase a new ambulance. That is also a vital need. Paving, for capital paving needs on our VDOT roads that we get VDOT funding for, there's $500,000 included in this budget. And $175,000 total for our non-VDOT roads, which includes some of the roads that come up often, like Lincoln, Hillcrest, those type of roads that aren't ones we get state dollars for. Normally, we fund in an average year $175,000 for paving. That's what we can actually afford. Just to put it in perspective, that's $675,000 of paving. One, that has just in of itself the ability to address roughly about 40% of our roadways with various applications. But that $500,000 that we've programmed, VDOT has a program called revenue sharing, and it is a one-for-one match. So we have the potential to take that $500,000 and double it to put $1 million towards paving. We've programmed $50,000 for bridge repairs, and this is separate from our mandated inspection funds. So as we continue to look at and assess the bridge near Whitey's, there's $50,000 if we need to do some joint repairs or other things. We have programmed and proposed funds for a brine spreader, and this has come from their from our winter storm fund. This will actually help reduce costs long term. You use less materials, less man hours, you're using less salt, less man hours to pre-treat, and you can pre-treat up to 48, sometimes 72 hours before a storm as long as there's not rain. So you're hitting your bridges, your hills, your icy known slick spots. Parks and Recreation is receiving $23,000 for a new pool cover and other park improvements downtown, as well as covering some betterments that we need with Maple Phase 3. By that I mean we're putting ARPA relief dollars towards Maple Phase 3. VDOT only covers certain portions of a project. They don't do improvements that are outside of the project core, meaning we obviously have to pave after the project's done. We need to replace the water line in that vicinity when you're doing all that work. With the Jeter Watson Center, there's continued park improvement funding with over $20,000 for drainage and parking area needs that are needed. There's fencing needs, there's drainage. Cedar Hill Cemetery is receiving $30,000 for the replacement of a utility vehicle to ensure that we continue to have respectable burials for folks that choose to be buried at our cemetery. There's $500,000 earmarked in the utility fund for water and wastewater plant projects, and that is outside of our consent order requirements and outside of what the Department of Health tells us we have to do for a water plant or what DEQ is saying we have to do for wastewater. This is us working to identify needed things to make sure we continue to have the ability to operate at capacity and continue to grow our system. Focus is placed on continuing regionalism with funding joint and shared services to the best of our ability with the current projected general fund revenues. And by that I mean Sheriff's Office, our CSB, our social services, our judicial and court system, that those are shared services with Allegheny County. We have continuing efforts to promote economic development and tackle blight in a methodic manner. Given the uptick in tourism, the demolition fund now has $40,000 proposed in this budget, along with $24,000 for overgrown lots. Last year, we increased it to $12,000. This coming year is proposed to be $24,000, so that's more than doubling it. The final local match of $111,000 for Rayon Bridges replacement is included in this budget. That's a previous discussion and agreement we have with VDOT. We're paying $400,000 for it, and the bridge is slated to cost upwards of $14 million. It's not a bad deal. Dedicated funds for employee relations and adjustments to cover benefit increases and changes are included in this budget. So one, the COLA, the cost of living adjustment that was done in January, the council approved, which we're all very appreciative of, that was 4.5%. We have made sure we have funds for retirement payouts. The minimum wage increase that is now, going to $11 and is expected to eventually move to $15. And we also covered a 9.5% health insurance increase for our employees rather than passing it on to the employees. So again, I trust that you all as council will consider this proposed budget and its core recommendations for FY23 favorably. And as I say to you all in your conversations, I'm happy to answer any questions on what's presented. So sorry that it's long, but hopefully that helps somewhat.
Are we still under your report?
Yeah.
Can we get, and didn't go to the last EDC meeting, can we get a quick update on pad sites?
while you're here?
Yes, so the PAT site at the Allegheny Regional Commerce Center, which is a joint economic development, the city and county are doing 50-50. Right now, we're starting to see some schedule slips, namely because we are seeing delays in the plan review phase. Part of that is just coming through with adjacent property owners raising questions and concerns through the plan review phase. Hopefully we can continue to work through that and continue to meet these project deadlines. You know, we're starting to get to a point where we're losing ground where it may end up delaying construction and making construction commencement difficult, because, you know, we're starting to get to where it's going to be hard to start the first groundbreakings. It's going to be hard to make sure that we're following everything that we need to do, and quite frankly, the concerns arising that the contractors that are capable of doing the work, the major earthwork that is involved, they're interested. We've reached out, you know, we've got rough magnitude of cost, but the longer we wait, the more likely they are to take another job. So then that also can create a delay for the project as well. So it's kind of like a ripple effect. But the city and county are moving forward, and one thing I'm very pleased to say is VEDP, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, they're actually making their second site visit out here to that site on Friday, and they're also going to Railover River. Myself and Mr. Reed Walter, the new county administrator, we will be showing them both of those sites, and so that's exciting, because previously VEDP, they did not venture out here often. So to have them out here twice in 1 year to look at those sites is amazing, and they're actually bringing 6 project managers. So that's huge. So when we, at the state level, you know, companies ask, do you have, you know, something that meets this need? I need, you know, 100 acres so I can put, you know, 500,000 square feet and 500 employees. They're becoming familiar with what we have here. And so that's a great opportunity for us.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else from anybody?
No,
Okay.
that's fine, thank you.